I will say that meeting with Zelensky was good.
Because
this is what happened. So he came in, he tried to posture. First of all,
I love everything about that. That's not one of the things I'm complaining about Trump. I loved how he handled that.
I think Zelensky was coached before he went in there.
For sure.
I think they told him, like, you got to go in there and posture and all this stuff. So he went in there, he's like, oh, doing his little stupid voice or whatever. And he tried to put him on the spot. He tried to get him to fold, but wrong fucking person to do that to.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't care if there's cameras in there.
Right.
Like, he's going to call you out in front of the entire world. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he kicked him out of the fucking White House when they were supposed to go to lunch.
Yeah.
Not only that, he didn't even pay for his hotel tab, which he was supposed to do. I guess it's the first time that's ever happened on a foreign dignitary coming to visit the White House. The White House usually covers the tab. He's like, no, fuck you. Pay for your own goddamn hotel.
That's crazy.
So then he sent him packing, and Zelensky tucked his tail and ran to Europe, and Europe was like, oh, we'll stand with you. Okay, motherfuckers, you can foot the bill. America's going to pull out then.
When I read that, it said, we'll stand with you, but
as long as we have America.
Only if the U.S. Yeah.
Okay, that was 100% for a photo op. That was
Okay.
100% for a photo op.
That's why I was confused.
Welcome back to another episode of Ill Eagle Culture Brand's Red Tape Talk. I'm your host, John Nostos, a.k.a. Ill Eagle CEO, and I'm here with my two counterparts, Dion Two Cup Larry and Cody Big Meat Mouth. And Cody just collapsed out.
He was set up, dude. Now he's slumped.
He'll be all right.
Evu's been on the bottle. We apologize. He's been doing Mardi Gras without us, apparently.
He's good, bro. He's good. There you go. Yeah.
Like him sitting straight up or what?
No, I was trying to get a better view of you.
My bad, dog. I'll get over here.
So,
yeah.
How was that State of the Union, boys?
I thought it was dope, man. Like we've talked about recently, that I've kind of been getting a bad taste in my mouth for Trump and him kind of missing on a few swings here. That was probably the coolest, most American State of the Union I've seen happen in a long time, where he really made it about the people. I know, like, a lot of people on the left are saying, oh, he was just fucking gaslighting us and doing all this nonsense. I thought if that's what he was doing, he did a really good job of doing it, because that was super meaningful. I think it was super valuable that he showed what he showed. The importance of why he had those people there was huge. I understood that very clearly. You know, like, he was demonstrating all the damage that was caused in the last 4 years by the prior administration. Mm-hmm. So I felt like that was super necessary. And he laid it down, man. Like, I know that Trump is he's got everything working against him and has for a really long time. And I think he's just coming out the gate swinging and doesn't give a damn about the repercussions or how people are going to manipulate the things he's saying and doing. And so I thoroughly enjoyed the State of the Union. I thought it was awesome. However, I was horrifically disgusted by the Democratic Party within that congressional meeting, because they were
the shit show.
Well, not just the shit show, bro. They were so disrespectful, so rude, and so un-American. I get it. You don't like Donald Trump, but you're playing childish games with government order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was Americans there that you're pretending to be for and that you love, but just because they let Trump show them some love, you treated them like they were pieces of shits, even though they were affected by your former policies, your former president, presidential candidate or whoever you voted in. So, yeah, I thought it was super tasteless and disgusting of them, and anyone who sided with them and took joy in concurring with the bullshit parade that they put on at this shit, not clapping, not standing, not cheering when the times are right.
Cancer. I mean, the kid had 12 freaking brain surgeries, and he's there.
That alone made me pissed off that none of them stood, clapped, or cheered for him, or thought any of that stuff was awesome or heartfelt.
Yeah.
It was weird and disgusting.
And then the guy wouldn't shut up. He had to be escorted out. That's a first.
Yeah,
That's never happened
that was
before.
crazy.
So
Nicole was like, "What's going on? Why are they doing this?" And I was like, "That's like people on the Democratic side like talking.
That's
you
how they
just
behave.
can't hear them."
It's so crazy that they, again, man. I'll say this every time because it's just so true. They do everything they accuse other people of doing.
Yeah,
100% of the time.
Yeah. The first thing we noticed, I mean, and I texted you guys. I said, "You guys see the signs that they were holding?
Yeah,
Must
that was
steals."
It's so
it's
childish, bro. Like it's such an immature and it's a charade that they're making out of government office, bro.
It really is. That was disappointing.
I don't care. Like if you guys don't agree, like that's been a long time the way it's been, but the way they behaved was just unprecedented, man.
Yeah.
And so I don't take any issue with the way Trump was addressing them. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's so unclassy." And I'm just like, you're just such a hypocrite because you want to talk about class and you're supporting the Democratic Party and not paying attention to anything they're doing. So the fact that Trump, at least he spoke truth, and I think that when he did it, point at them and say things about them, at least you can tell he put humor on it.
Yeah,
where they're dead serious about
the way
they're behaving.
I could literally cure cancer, and they wouldn't even stand up and applaud.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's truth.
No matter what you do, they're not going to do anything.
Which I think is just so classless and disgusting of our government officials. Yeah,
and like the females, so there's the females there that were dressed up in pink, but yet they voted for.
What was the pink all about?
It's supposed to be pro women, whatever. Supposed to show solidarity for women, but
they didn't do that for the girls.
Then they voted for men to be in women's sports.
Yeah, that, and they didn't cheer or stand or applaud the girls who were hurt by men in women's sports or who were affected by
the girl that got a TBI.
Yeah, I didn't like the clapping, the standing mostly, but like for the people that were there, the American people that were there, not the government officials or anything like that. Like I get clapping and standing for that because it's monumental. Obviously, people have lost lives that are close to them, and I just like the clapping took it. That could have been a 45-minute thing. And it was great, but every time they stand and clap, and they all are, every time they stand and clap, it's like taken away from my thought process of what he's saying. Like, I just want to hear you talk. You can clap, but we don't have to stand. It just takes that extra minute of okay. But standing and clapping for the people is definitely important. I mean, those were really good stories to hear. And
I think they started it to offset the boos of the Democrats right out the gate.
USA.
Yeah, they started doing that to and then I think they just stuck to the script of let's overpower them.
Yeah,
which was it was okay, but I agree with you. Like I think they should just all shut up, listen, and clap at opportunistic times, not just every time he said something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that was really kind of frustrating too.
Listening to them talk about like all the money that's being laundered. Well, it was laundered. Was absolutely crazy. So the USAID or whatever it was.
I love that he called out all the ridiculous things too.
Did you see so one of the things that he brought up was I don't know if it was like $8 million into transgender mice or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, CNN posted an article that they had to adjust because they wrote it wrong, but they said that the money was going towards testing transgender mice for gender affirming care for humans. That's what it was for.
What does that change?
Well, they were in fact. Well, the way that they
like
wrote
that is true.
The way that they wrote the article was saying that Trump lied and it was false.
Okay,
but it was it was true. They had to reframe it, but people were like, "Oh, look, this is the actual article," and it was saying, they do test it on mice. They make them transgender for humans for gender affirming care,
which is just crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. So it's a legit thing. And people thought that was a flex. Like, no,
that's not good. That's not
nobody
any better.
No. You're like a quarter of the population that wants to mutilate children. So no.
What do you think about his take on people who kill police officers getting the automatic death penalty?
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I think anybody that murders somebody, I don't know, like I would say premeditated murder like that, or somebody that like if somebody gets out in a shootout with a cop, like they're obviously trying to kill him, right?
Yeah.
And if the cop dies, shouldn't they die?
Yeah.
See, so me and John talked about this at the gym, and we do have much better technology now than we ever really had. Like, because obviously
With body
5
cams?
years ago,
Yeah.
even we didn't have body cams, or not everybody wore body cams at least.
Right.
Well, probably 5 years ago, maybe a little bit back,
The
7
last
years
decade
ago,
at least. So yeah,
something like that. Either way, the cops had a big upper hand in that situation, and now it is more even. But with that being said, obviously there is room for them to be able to tamper with evidence and going through a trial. So I see
Without body cams.
Yeah. Well, even with body cams, there is an upper hand in having the ability to mess with evidence. Things can get lost. Now
you can use the excuse of redactions and all that bullshit for the protection of blood. Like we've seen it happen before for sure.
Is it likely?
Look,
No.
crooked cops exist. We know that, right?
Yeah.
I think though, like to the point that he's making is, everyone will still have to go through some kind of trial. It's not like, oh, you killed a cop, you're getting death sentence. No, now you got to go through the process of being tried for killing that cop. So I think that's where things will come out and
then there's
clear
still,
the air.
There's still appeals and everything like that.
Did you guys see the county sheriff people that it was the whole unit or a whole precinct that they had to get rid of all of the cops because they were acting as a mob, basically?
Yeah.
So it must have
I think
been
we talked about that.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it happened over just this week, but maybe we did. Either way,
I think we did.
I
don't remember this.
I thought it was just over this week, like last weekend, maybe they came out with it, but it was like 6 people. A couple of them were family members. Like one was the mom, one was the son, and the brother or whatever. Either way, they got rid of all of them. They all got fired because it had to have been a small town.
It was a small town.
Yeah. And they were acting like,
positive we talked about this.
I don't remember talking about this, but either way, that's crazy. So, like in that situation, if I were to kill one of them, I feel like they'd try their best to not let that evidence get out. You know what I mean?
Like
so
them.
Yes, but they are the police. They were the police at the time.
What he means is like a situation like that where they're all working together to be crooked.
Yeah.
That kind of organized,
So
situation.
are you saying like they would delete the body cam footage?
They could try. I don't know what else they have. I mean,
or they could just not have their body cams on in the first place, and there's a lot of excuses for that.
Then
There's a ton of excuses.
Then we're assuming what would happen in court too. I mean,
but we're talking a small town, which we have a lot of here, where there's only maybe 3 cops. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. So
but he would have to be convicted without a reason of doubt.
Yeah, I think that's very possible.
If there's no footage, then that's reason
Now,
of doubt.
Yeah, and that's what John said.
We also talked about too the drug dealers.
I got some more for
getting
you
the death penalty, and I don't agree with that one at all.
So we did talk about that, but like I said, I feel that not a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. I don't really know the numbers, but there are drug dealers out there that lace the shit with fentanyl.
Oh, for sure, I agree.
Yeah.
But
And
again,
if they're knowingly doing that to try to do, I mean,
yeah, but how do you
prove it?
Yeah, prove that. I just feel like that one could get really messy.
It could.
That one could get really messy because, like I told Dion, by that principle alone, bro, like I could be on death row right now.
Yeah. No, I know. I get it.
But and drug dealers.
But I don't think he explained like exactly like
he did
what kind of drugs,
all the
how much
stipulations,
drugs.
and I get it. Yeah, there's a lot more
Is
to
it just
it.
kingpins or who
and we take everything at face value, especially the media. They love to attack and be like, "Oh, all drug dealers," So yeah, I get it. But I just think that there should be maybe harsh punishment for them. But I don't know about death penalty
for sure. For sure.
What is harsh punishment, though?
I don't know, like longer sentences in prison. You know what I mean? Or I mean, who knows? There's all kinds of ways to play. He can send them off to where did he send a bunch of them to recently, bro?
Guantanamo,
not Guantanamo. El Salvador.
Oh, to the crazy prison.
Yeah. Like do something like that. Sure, why not? But yeah, I don't know. That one's tough for me. I don't know.
See, but the thing is I could get on board with it. I could say they could do the death penalty because you will know beforehand. You would know before you decide to start selling drugs, or if you're selling drugs, you're gonna stop selling drugs.
Yeah.
Unless you want to take that chance, and if you want to take that chance, that's on you. There's always a Burger King down the street. There's always going to be a McDonald's down the street. I know you want to make get your family out, whatever. Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
I would say if it's like something harsh, like fentanyl and stuff like that.
I agree. I think weed, mushrooms, those things should be legal, but they're not, unfortunately.
Heroin.
But we're talking about like even the thing I brought up was,
Heroin's got the highest rate of fentanyl.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
like stuff like that, like the harsh ones, like fentanyl.
Well, and then pills was the one I brought up because doctors prescribe all those pills, oxycodone, all that stuff, all those painkillers, the downers, whatever, Adderall. We're talking like these things. How do we combat that if we're going to give the death penalty to drug dealers? That's where I draw the line. That's where my issue is okay, these doctors can give all these drugs, which pills are one of the biggest things that get people into drugs, which is what we don't talk about. We just talk about the cartel and how they're so bad and not how people are doing pills from their doctor and then getting addicted and then they don't have any more pills. Yeah, exactly. So that's where the issue lies. I don't know how you would combat that because
it's tough. Did you see? I think I shared it to you guys this week, but that cop who overdosed on fentanyl because apparently he had a meth problem and he busted this kid and he thought it was meth, and then when he got back to the police station, he went in the bathroom and tried to smoke it, and he fucking just laid out right there. That he can't. They resuscitated him though, and he was in the hospital, and I guess he resigned like before they could fire him.
But he survived.
But he survived. Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, but he had his partner happened to go into the bathroom and saw him laying under the stall. And he went in there and they fucking gave him a few shots of Narcan and shit and tried to get him back. And yeah, they said that they showed the body cam footage of him making the arrest and confiscating what he thought was meth from some kid and, sent him on his way. And they were going to fire him because he didn't follow the proper protocol to, make an arrest and do all that stuff. He wanted that shit for himself. And then they found out through a hair sample of his that, he had the kind of positive results for meth of someone who had been doing it for a while, not just trying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and he didn't look like a meth addict. He looked like a very he was kind of thick too, so like, I don't know, man, it's really strange, but yeah, it turned out to be fentanyl and he didn't know it. And he tried to go in the bathroom and take a hit.
See, that's
at the police station. He tried to go to the bathroom and take a hit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, if there was just some unknown person trying to buy a bag of meth and then he smokes it, dies.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Weed too. I mean,
but that's
you can't really lace weed with fentanyl. That's a big myth.
Yeah, people say they do somehow.
No, it's a myth. That's bullshit.
Unless it was like pre-rolled joints, I feel like
maybe like a P-Dog or something like that. Yeah, I could see that. Roll a Primo and shit.
Yeah,
we used to back in the day when I used to slang coke in Encinitas, we used to like lace it with no-dos and shit to like increase the volume. We'd buy a bag and get an 8-ball and we'd break it up and put some no-dos and different shit in it, bro, and it would burn black if someone tried to do a burn test on it, but we sold it to just a bunch of like essays and fools from Eden Gardens and shit.
Fools gone wild.
What do they? What's that? What's the one that like people actually smoke? So it's weed and we can't really talk about this, but they put it on their weed. They sprinkle it. Is it meth?
Cocaine
or it's coke?
Yeah, they call it. That's a Primo or a P-Dog.
Yeah,
they call that. Yeah. And those are actually kind of dope, bro. And I've done coke like 2 times in my life, and I hated the feeling, like the drip and the experience. So I never fucked with coke. But every once in a blue moon, I would smoke a joint with some coke just sprinkled over the top of it, and it's like they call that a Primo. And that shit feels pretty good, bro. I'm not gonna lie. So I guess I've smoked some crack rock before or some shit. But again, like a handful of times, I can count on one hand how many times I've done that. Even But snorting it, I've tried it twice, and both times I did not like it at all. Yeah. That you get this weird drip in the back of your throat where you're like constantly trying to scratch it. And I was like, how does anyone fucking enjoy doing this shit, bro? Like I was irritated the entire time that I was doing it. That I did it because it was just that drip in the back was just fucking me up, bro. And I was like, this isn't enjoyable at all. So I didn't like coke at all. That was the only chemical drug I'd ever tried in my life too.
That's good. Stay away from it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my dad was a heroin addict, so I was afraid of having addictive behavior to begin with, man, with that shit. So I always kept it just herbal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's one big no.
Yeah.
Like so many people back in high school, like right when we got out, LSD was huge. Acid. Yeah. Everybody was doing
huge
acid.
In high school, bro.
Crazy.
Fools would be in school and just stick their tongues out with tabs, like, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?" And they're just like, "Yeah, bro." It's like, I mean, it was always like surfer white boys and shit too, bro. They were down for the acid.
It was so crazy because I hadn't heard of anybody doing it until like the end of senior year, and I see people doing it, and like we go to parties and people are just messed up on the couch. I'm like, what are they
doing?
Nothing.
They're just sitting there?
They're just sitting there in front of the TV, dude. Nothing good. Like it's not this. It doesn't look like it's fun what they're doing. I'm like, you guys are losers. Like,
but you have no idea what's going on in their heads.
They weren't going
having
anywhere
way
in real
more
life,
fun than you're having. For sure.
They weren't going anywhere in real life. I'll tell you that. But at the time, I'm sure they had a ball. I'm sure. I was having a good time too, just not on that. I'm good. But no, that was the
Dion's like, this stuff. Morgan's crazy, huh, guys? They're like, yeah, Morgan Coke is great.
Yeah. We were all 18 just having a good time, dude.
Fools are on acid and Dion's sipping mixed drinks like, yeah, guys.
That's true, though. That's true. When we walk the city, that's how you do it. So it's a good time.
What did you guys think about that video of the Democrats all repeating the same line?
Yeah, that was really weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I feel like they did that on purpose, though.
Why?
Because
it looks so bad.
I feel like they're mocking the whole news one. You know what I mean?
I didn't see this.
So you've seen the news one where they show like dozens of news people repeating the same line, and then all of a sudden the Democrats did something like that, like post the speech, wasn't it?
It started in the morning. And it was basically just a Democrat saying some of the stuff in the speech is going to be a lie and all that stuff, right? And then more and more of these Democrats posted to their ex the same freaking line over and over. And there was like 22 of them that all repeated the same thing.
That's weird. I don't get it.
So it's almost like these people just have not learned their lesson. Like that's what it reminds me of. Because if you go to the speech, they're just acting a fool in the speech and just looking like stupid. They're looking like a bunch of stupid people. Totally stupid people.
Yeah, 22 Democratic senators using the same script and clips word for word.
Yeah.
Crazy. I was hoping that this was going to be the video, but it's not.
It's insane.
Oh, let's find this.
And then you got Jasmine Crockett coming out with a music video. Like, what's that about? Did you see it?
That was weird.
Her music video?
No.
Oh, my God.
I saw the...
Choose Your Fighter?
Yeah, the Choose Your Fighter one. That was so cringy, just like... And I hate using that word,
John,
too.
You got to pull that one up, too. I sent that in Weekly Topics.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right, I'll find that one there.
But the cringe is real, though. It's totally real. Hey, by the way, when did code switch become a term?
When you live in North Dakota, pretty much.
No, I heard Shane Gillis say it. That's where I first
That's because he's been hanging out with more black guys. That's crazy. That's
talking about Quentin Tarantino code switching, and then I watched the clip, and I was like, dude, that's so cringy.
Yeah.
So cringe.
That is what that is, though. That is. Even, like, I'll go to, like, family reunions, and I'm like, there's no way you talk like this. Yeah, I don't. Like, I never seen. I guess
Jasmine Crockett did it.
Yeah, she did it.
But when a white person does it, it's really bad.
When she does it, it's bad. It just makes it and it's. I'm not saying that.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it.
It just sounds stupid.
Yeah,
it sounds stupid.
Yeah, less intelligent.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want to dumb down your ability to use the English language when you can speak so well.
Right.
Like, I also think, and John and I have talked about this too, is like to fit in to the culture, even though you're not a part of the culture, is such an odd thing. Like if I go and I hang with my family on my dad's side, who were all mostly black,
yep.
I'm not gonna start like saying the N-word a bunch or doing anything like that, like, because I don't do that in my regular life.
Right.
I don't say the N-word other than when I'm rapping songs. Like, I don't. It's not me.
What do you think about it in reverse though? So like, one thing that I've always said, and obviously I've been here for so long now, it's just nature, second nature now. But like when the way I talk and the way I'm talking to you guys, I never talked like this before in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when people go live in like the South or go live in the UK and all of a sudden they develop an accent over years, you know what I mean? But like the way I would talk to my family members or around my homies from back home would be, you guys would be like, whoa, this fool's like code switching on us, which I guess it kind of is.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to what I've done my entire life versus what I've developed here as a way of speaking. I feel like I do when I'm around them. It just comes out of me naturally, bro. We're like here, like yeah, I feel like I talk.
I guess I've
different.
never seen that.
Yeah.
Would you say you like a
Hood fool gone wild.
yeah, like a hood fool?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
but just like certain.
Oh, what's up,
No,
homie?
I don't do. I
hoes?
never talked like that. No, like we would say like a and shit, but it was like we used like more modern slang than just the old school like essay stuff. But we never said nigga, which all Mexicans now say that,
Yeah.
which is really weird to me. But yeah, like just like saying dog or what's up, like, and just kind of you have a weird intonation on the way that you talk. It's more hood like slang and intonation as opposed to like I try to articulate and speak clearly, and I use like big words where like if I talk with big words back home to some of my homies, they'd be lost, bro. They'd be like, what? Like, you talking weird, homie, so it's like, yeah, it is different. And I don't know if that would be considered code switching or if it's code switching only when you are, for lack of a better term, a whitewashed black dude who gets around black people, then suddenly you're like, yeah, nigga this, nigga that. Is that considered code snitching or code switching as opposed to like, hey, if you grew up hood your whole life and that's how you talk, but you find yourself in a professional environment or a job where you had that was another thing when I worked in customer service when I first moved here, bro, I had to talk more proper. You know what I mean? I couldn't answer the phone and be like, yeah, what's cracking? What you guys want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to be like, yeah, welcome to such and such. How can I help you today? My name's John. Like you had to kind of switch it up to fit in and be more professional. And that's kind of what I've developed over the years of living here.
See, my thing is I would say this isn't even like my white voice. You get me on the phone for work and that's a whole nother voice. So like,
Hello, my name is Dion.
yeah, it sounds good, dude. I learned that from my mom. She's like, when she's working, I'm like, you're not that person. That's not you. That's somebody else. So it's interesting how people do that. But I mean, even myself, like I said, I have a whole nother voice that I use when I'm working, and but I do see people try to do that code switching, even though that's really not them, and they're just trying to take some of the culture, like and adapt to it so that they seem cooler, which is interesting, and not just black culture, whatever culture they're surrounded by,
Right.
So
Right.
it's interesting.
John, I want to say that. Let me look.
Yeah, I wanted to find the video of
Yeah,
all
I
of them
know. Well, I
talking,
think
but I can't find it anywhere.
Let me see. Hold on. I want to say that maybe Benny Johnson posted it, but I could be wrong, and I'm wrong.
Is this the one you're talking about, the video here, though, of the code switching?
Yeah.
You want me to play that real quick?
Yeah, do it.
You don't gotta play the whole thing. Play like half of it. It was long.
No, we're going to play
like,
the whole thing, Dion.
It was awful. I was like, I can't keep watching this.
Hold on. One of these days, we're going to figure out this whole thing here. I think I got it.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's doing all kinds of nonsense. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that.
So what do you think it is, though? Do you think she's adapted to speaking properly and professionally for her career, or do you think that she's pretending to be hood when she gets around black culture?
To be honest, I think that what the caption says is true. Is somebody told her to talk trash here, because she also adds a lot more profanity, which is not like something you would do in any sort of setting on social media on purpose.
So to talk trash here, you have to use a black slang accent?
She does not, but that's what she might have taken that as, So
I think
either
that
way,
makes her racist.
I'm not racist.
No, her.
I was like, wait.
I think that makes her racist.
For sure. I mean, it would be close. I just like that, like the amount of profanity just in that one clip. It's like you're outside of the congressional hall. Like
that's what Kamala Harris did a lot. That was when code switching really blew up recently. Was when Kamala Harris kept doing that shit.
Yeah,
and they started calling her out for code switching. But she did Mexican accents, she did black accents, she did Indian. Like, bro, she code switches for real.
She did. But that's like aggressive. Like she's going twangy. Like I don't know where she's from.
Yeah, that southern stuff.
Well, she's a representative of Houston, I believe. So
Houston, they've got some pretty stiff accents.
Oh my God, this one is so cringy.
Let's see what we got here. What is this one?
It's the choose your fighter one, I think.
Oh yeah, this is embarrassing. What is with the Democrats, bro?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Why are they all, and even the people who defend them for the most part, they're uninformed and they're a little bit off, man.
See, I hate that we have to say like Democrats, because I don't want to lump people together like that. I hate doing that.
I guess you're right. I try not to, but they're it's just the consensus.
I don't like lumping people together, What
does John always do?
He lumps people together?
No, I don't. That's just your racist brain that does that. When you hear what I'm saying, you lump it all together and get offended. But no, I don't lump it together. But let's be real. Let's be real. You guys are coming over to the dark side right now.
Yeah, you
don't even front.
You tainted my Instagram.
No, you tainted your Instagram with your curiosity.
No, what I continue to say, just like Ian Carroll said in his thing, is that he believes that there's factions.
Yes, so do I.
But
it's just easier to say the Jews.
I know, but when you say that,
it's not like I know that I know plenty of
not just the people.
Yeah, otherwise I would accuse you of being one of them.
That's why you don't want us to talk about
is that when you say that, people are just going to see go on the streets and start marching, Jews, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it starts to become a snowball.
It's the same as when
it starts to become a snowball.
People say Muslims do this.
That's what I'm saying. Like
it's
after
the same
9/11.
concept. Yeah.
Right?
I get it.
Yeah.
That's not how I mean it though, but I get the but you know fucking better. You just like to fucking paint me an anti-Semite so that people could talk shit about me on this. But that's not the case. But all right,
so when we say things like that, we're not lumping full groups. So if you're a regular Democrat, it's okay. But
if you're normal, then you're normal. But the consensus is most of them aren't.
It's getting difficult. And
I would even go as far as to say it's not even the traditional Democrats. It's these left wing like woke people who are jumping on the Democrat Party side because they believe they align with all of that ideology, and so then they end up making it look bad. But
this is not the Democrat Party of the old. Yeah,
correct. Good God, how embarrassing though. AOC is a whole nother thing, man. Who even told them this would be a good idea?
Okay, first thing I wanna say is at least 4 of them had first blank to be in this position, which is just that's like the number one thing you have to credit. Out of the 2 things you had to come up with, one of them is just being the first. What is AOC? What she's Latino? The first Latino to be in her position, right? That's what one of her bullet points is. You don't have anything better than just you being a color. Like that's pretty not good.
Well, racial lines are what they love to draw on everything, bro. So of course it makes sense that they would do some dumb shit.
Becomes their whole identity.
Yeah,
that's silly. One said number 1 mommy or something like that, mommy of the year. I was like, what? What is it? What are they talking about? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
I posted that other video on the weekly topics. I think it's not in there though.
I have to refresh probably.
Yeah, it's only the 3 of them, but there was 22 of them in total that were all.
Oh yeah, good call. All right, so this is the one we were talking about of the scripted stuff that some of the Democrats were doing.
There you go.
When I will immediately bring prices down starting on day 1.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse. Not better. The prices of grocery, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done enough goose eggs to lower prices. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers on January 6th. He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw
Wow.
Private government programs, and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data. Social security numbers, tax returns, health care returns. He's fired thousands of essential workers, people who help our veterans get their benefits, people fighting Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come.
Okay, let me comment on that too. You have a 1-paragraph script to read, to remember, whatever, to make a video. The amount of cuts in all of those videos of them just saying
Having
the
to
points
redo
is
it?
insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They probably did it line by line.
Yeah, that was sad. Every time they named something, it skipped.
But it's just crazy to me because these people have learned nothing over the
Right.
past year.
Yeah.
I
They
will
have
say
learned
though,
nothing.
and I want this to be clear, man. I'm really starting to ride the middle of the line here with everything in politics, man, because both sides are making a fucking complete mockery of our government.
Definitely.
They're making a complete mockery of our nation, and I kind of see in some context why some people feel the way they feel about the right, who are on the left.
Yeah.
To an extent, you know what I mean? And I think we've always all said this, like, we understand that Trump is not perfect. He is the lesser of evils that we were choosing. And I still feel justified in that. But man, I'm really starting to dislike a lot of the looks that I'm getting from the stuff that they're doing right now in the White House. And it's supposed to be the people that we thought were going to be at least better. And maybe they still are, you know, you can see clearly that they still are better in a sense. They're a lot more articulate, sophisticated, and knowledgeable in terms of the way things should be in a state of normalcy. But they're dropping the ball on a lot of things, and there's a lot of weird connections between a bunch of them where I feel like that the corruption and—
Are you talking about Epstein files?
I'm talking about everything, but Epstein files included for
That
sure.
was the worst one. That one was just.
But
so
they're
disappointing.
starting to show their hand, I think, a little bit, and it's not looking like it's going to be a good one.
I just don't get what, like, and it has only been a couple days, whatever, but we expected a lot out of Cash, and I know he's settling into his role, I'm sure.
But that's bullshit.
What's he gonna do now?
Settling into his role, how though? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he should be fucking, like he said.
He literally said he's looked at the files for the JFK assassination, didn't he?
I
Where is he?
agree. I agree. We're never going to see him.
We're not gonna.
Yeah.
I just don't see
I
it
agree.
happening.
I'm more curious now what their story is going to be though.
I do find it very curious. And are you on Robinhood?
Mm-hmm.
I find it very curious that the day after that he was sworn in, the stocks tanked.
Yeah.
That's curious to me. It's almost like they knew something was coming.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I'm not going to write him off just yet.
Yeah, I'm not quite writing him off, but I'm being very careful right now.
I do say, like, you cannot say stuff and not follow through. Like,
Yeah.
you can't say day
Especially
one
after
this,
what
day
we
one
just
that.
experienced, and that was your
It's
number
not-
one campaign.
Yeah.
Mention was like, look, these people don't do what they say they're going to do. They've lied to the American people. They've misled the American people. When we get into office, we're going to make shit happen. We're going to make heads roll, and promises are going to be kept. When that becomes your slogan, your campaign slogan, promises made, promises kept, and they keep saying that over and over in
you gotta follow
current
through.
day. Yeah, but they're not actually doing that. They're giving us tidbits that they think are going to satisfy us and then shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just not going to happen that way for some of us, I think. And, so, yeah,
it's
maybe
unfortunate.
my expectations were too high for people who, at the end of the day, are still just politicians. But I really thought we were going to see a lot more different. And so I can own it and say, like, yeah, we might have been a little wrong about some of these people and the moves that they're making now. They're showing their hand, but I still stand by, I still think it's better for now until they completely destroy everything. But, they're making some bad decisions. Trump isn't explaining himself in some areas where I think he should, but he's still doing a lot of crazy, awesome, positive things for this country as well. So it's we just kind of got to see how a lot of this stuff plays out, man.
Yeah, and one thing against Trump too was, remember he said, day one, I'm going to get the war in Ukraine stopped. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, it's
He
still
said
going on.
I could have ended in a week, 2 weeks tops.
Hey,
Yeah,
when
no.
I get in office, day one.
Yeah.
But I will say,
We feel closer to World War III than we did before he was in office.
I don't know about that. I feel like 2 years ago, I felt like we were like, I'm going to
the
have to
verge?
get, Cody was like, you're going to get drafted. You better be ready. And I said, no,
but I will
dude.
say that meeting with Zelensky was good.
That was.
Because this is what happened. So he came in, he tried to posture. First of all,
I love everything about that. That's not one of the things I'm complaining about Trump. I loved how he handled that.
I think Zelensky was coached before he went in.
For sure.
I think they told him, like, you got to go in there and posture and all this stuff. So he went in there, he's like, oh, doing his little stupid voice or whatever. And he tried to put him on the spot. He tried to get him to fold, but wrong fucking person to do that to.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't care if there's cameras in there.
Right.
Like, he's going to call you out in front of the entire world. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he kicked him out of the fucking White House when they were supposed to go to lunch.
Yeah.
Not only that, he didn't even pay for his hotel tab, which he was supposed to do. I guess it's the first time that's ever happened on a foreign dignitary coming to visit the White House. The White House usually covers the tab. He's like, no, fuck you. Pay for your own goddamn hotel.
That's crazy.
So then he sent him packing, and Zelensky tucked his tail and ran to Europe. And Europe was like, oh, we'll stand with you. Okay, motherfuckers, you can foot the bill. America's going to pull out then.
When I read that, it said, we'll stand with you, but
As long as we have America.
only if the U.S. Yeah. Okay,
that was
so
100% for a photo op. That was 100% for a photo op.
That's why I was confused, because I was like, it says only if the U.S. also helps.
Yeah. So then he's like, oh shit, okay, I guess I'm not going to get all this money that all these people are promising now that America's pulled out. So then America's like, all right, we're going to stop all funding. We're no longer sharing intelligence with you. And what happened? That little weasel wrote a letter saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to make this deal. Let's make this happen. So he was like, he tucked his tail, and now he wants to come back and make a deal.
Yeah.
So again, like, love him or hate him, but Trump knows how to get people to the table.
Yeah.
And that whole Gaza thing, you guys saw that, like when he mentioned that he wanted to take control of Gaza, and all these like other Middle Eastern countries like, whoa. You are not going to be taking control. And then they came up with this like $50 billion plan to start rebuilding Gaza on their own.
Yeah.
So Trump,
that hasn't really gained any traction though. That was just a statement. Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay, so
But the war is still going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say he posted that he's trying to get those hostages back now,
I mean,
like the rest that are.
Yeah,
over
he laid
there,
down
or
the
dead bodies
threat
or-
real heavy on that.
There's still people that the Hamas have.
They're
And
saying in Gaza still.
yes,
at that.
it's
So
like the war is still going on. So the deal about rebuilding can't stop or can't start until this all is concluded. You know what I'm saying? So that could be, who knows, a long time from now. But the point is that he's getting these people to talk. Like, this is your, continent or whatever, area that you guys live in.
Yeah.
You guys should step up and take care of it if you don't want America to take control. So we'll see what happens, but I think that's the right start at least. Like, I don't want anything to do with Gaza.
Yeah.
Funds wise, boots on grounds wise, anything. I don't want anything to do with it. And John, I do agree. I think that we should stop all of the funding that we're giving to Israel as well.
That's crazy.
Until they can root out whatever that they have. They root out and they clean that crap out of that, whatever is control.
Yeah, and
that includes our government too.
The one thing that Trump did say about that threat that he laid is that he said we'll supply Israel with all the weapons and force that they need to finish the job. Like, it just gets weird every time they bring that stuff up for me, man, because it's just like, look, I get it. It's not Jews per se, and I've been wording that wrong then for the sake of saying so. But the deep state of Israel is really bad, and they're really big, heavy players in manipulating the United States. They have done this for a very long time. We've always suspected them of JFK, of MLK, of RFK, of, all the way down to Charles Manson, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? And now 9/11 and the Iraq War and all this stuff, they've been the instigator in all these things. And while we're bitching about the unfairness of how much money we're giving to allies, to NATO, to Ukraine, we've never said a single word about how much money we're giving to Israel, and we're giving them the most.
Yeah.
So that's weird. And the question still remains, why?
I don't get why they can't defend themselves. I really don't understand. Like, how they don't have the resources, they don't have the money, they don't have the ability, because they have a lot of people.
I don't want to say that I know the answer, because I don't, but I'm just assuming that Iran's military force is bigger than Israel.
Yeah.
That's
just
my
people-wise.
That's my assumption.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
But How much money, like every other scenario, how much money has Europe given? How much money has all the other allies given?
To Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't we complaining about how much we have to foot the bill there, but we are everywhere else? You know what I mean? Like, we got to make it all make sense, and we got to be all inclusive if we want people to believe the narrative, bro. And so that's where I have a hard time with Trump. Is like, dude, it almost feels like he's won. He's in on it, you know?
One other thing I'd like to know is, like, from a military perspective, like, do a lot of other military people like want Ukraine to win the war against Russia, or do they want like that war specifically because no one's really winning and so many people have already died? Like, you want them to win the war, or do you want the war to be over?
Dude, right when it first started, I was like, okay, like, this is kind of messed up. Like, I hope that Ukraine's going to be okay because, you know, I believed in the whole narrative that Russia would just keep going, you know, into the
and push through
borders of NATO. And I was like, oh, shit, we might be going to war here, boys, you know. But that didn't last long.
Yeah.
That didn't last long at all. And I definitely realized that Russia is not as strong as I thought they were.
Yeah.
But I don't believe all the propaganda that they have against Russia either. Not saying that Putin's a good guy. I don't really know the guy.
Yeah.
So I can't say.
Well, he's a dictator. We know that. That is what we know. So
for sure. And but I don't believe everything that they said about Russia and everything.
Yeah.
I do know that there's biolabs in Ukraine, and they could be possibly testing some not so good things there. That's funded through American taxpayers. So that's a fact. But the other thing is that he's warned the NATO countries for many years, like, Ukraine cannot be in NATO.
Yeah.
In the NATO, right?
And it's long standing. Like, that's
can't be in NATO. And that is 100% okay.
Yeah.
I would not want China and Mexico or Canada, right? Like, if they're, you know what I'm saying? Like, the equivalent.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want somebody like that right on your border.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly reasonable for him to say, no, you can't do that. So.
Yeah. It's tough. It's I've talked to a couple people, not many, but they are also what I assume to be Democrat as well. I don't know for sure. I don't care either. But I had a discussion today, and I was really interested because I brought up the fact that, like, I think that the fact that NATO wants Ukraine to win, Ukraine wants to win, and Russia is willing to be done with the war. Like, that's a huge difference. They're willing to be done. They're willing to not have any more of their people die for nothing anymore.
Well, and the other thing you guys got to realize, when a country gets implemented into NATO, they have to retrofit all of their weapons into everything that NATO countries use. So you're talking about billions of dollars that they're going to get by retrofitting all of their ammunition and everything into the NATO round.
Yeah.
Because all the NATO countries use the same kind of rounds. So that's where, like, the war machine wants to keep going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they get a lot of money from it.
See, and so I brought this up, and he had mentioned, like, I said I wouldn't want to keep fighting this war if I was in Ukraine, and he said, well, you know what they say, something about if you don't fight now, you'll end up dying at your home, like, they'll come and get you, basically. And I said, okay, that's fair.
Who's they? Russians?
Anybody else. He was just giving me an example of, like, why I shouldn't say I'm going to fight people at my house instead of fighting somebody in Ukraine or fighting somebody in Russia. Like, if we were to go to a war, right? Say we had to go fight Hamas and boots on ground, they need everybody. I'm not going. I would not go. And they would say, you have to go. And I'd say, I'll go to your prison or whatever you want. I would fight at the border before I go fight anywhere else. But we're also the strongest country, or will be the strongest country by the end of the 4 years. You know what I mean? But the fact that he brought that up, and then my immediate response was, you have to think of it this way. So many people, especially in my age range, they don't think about their neighbor. They don't think about anybody else, but they think about Ukraine right now. Why is that? Why do we do that? What's the point in doing that when you don't even check in on your neighbor next door? You don't care.
Well, they don't mean it. You have to understand that part first.
Yeah.
They have no fucking clue what they're talking about, why they feel the way they do.
Yeah.
It's groupthink. It's literally groupthink, bro.
It's sad.
They're virtue signaling because they believe the consensus is because it's on mainstream everything. They believe the consensus is to feel that way about it, bro.
Yeah.
I have tons of friends back home that are posting, I stand with Ukraine, and
I've seen it so
I've been
much
so
lately.
tempted to just message them because I know these people personally and be like, why do you stand with Ukraine again? Because I guarantee you they don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
They have no clue.
Well,
they're
'cause
just
they're
doing
an
what
ally.
feels
They're not
good.
an ally.
They're
They're
doing this is like, bro, the woke left right now is the new fucking hippie, bro. It's the new hippie. 100% that's what it is to me.
Yeah.
These people think they know what they're talking about. They think they're standing for a just cause. They think they're the good guys. They virtue signal, and they don't realize that half the stuff they're saying and doing is racist and hateful and not inclusive. You know what I mean? Like they pretend to be the people of, inclusion and the party of peace and love and all.
Yeah.
They're not, bro. They have nothing but pure hate in their hearts. If anything, the conservative right is more willing to still care, love, and protect these dumbasses on the left in a heartbeat, even though they treat them the way that they do, where the left would never, bro. These woke people would never. They're all about hate. They're all about talking trash. And if they defend you, like if they defend people of color and you don't agree with the narrative, they no longer defend you as an individual. Yeah. But all the other black people who agree with them, you know what I mean? That to me, that feels like you think you're superior.
Yeah.
That you get to make that decision for colored people, brown, black, Asian, doesn't matter. That the fact that these people think that they can choose for us, our oppression, is crazy to me, bro.
Yeah.
Makes absolutely crazy to me.
Makes no sense.
Let's not forget, or very early on in the war, they were in peace talks with Boris Johnson. They had everything set up that was about to happen, and they got a call from the White House saying, squash it.
Yeah.
Put that to bed. We're not doing that. So why do you think that is? Well, they wanted to keep it going.
Yeah, you got to.
It's crazy to think. And it's just, and the thing, and I've brought it up so many times, but I'm going to keep doing it, is just like something so simple as just protecting your community and watching over the people around you does so much more than you worrying about what Ukraine's doing and how much power Russia has. Like, we're not going to let them take over anything in Ukraine. That's not going to happen. Even if they wanted to go full war, they're not taking over Ukraine, and America wouldn't allow that to happen.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think America knows that no one else can be any more powerful than they are. I don't
think that taking over Ukraine has anything to do with Russia's power.
They would have.
I mean, for them locally, sure, but I think it's more historical why Russia's trying to do that than anything. I don't think it has anything to do. They're not going to gain any kind of superpower from owning Ukraine. If anything, they're going to help make them better, but it doesn't make them more powerful.
Well, their people would have to acclimate, and then they would have more people to fight, and then they can push into Europe just like Germany did.
Maybe. I don't think
it would be a long process.
Yeah,
it would be
it'd be a long, slow process.
That doesn't sound feasible.
We're also going to take their minerals, which I'm sure Russia would love to have. They've got. I mean,
they owe it to us at this point, though.
Oh, they owe us big time.
That's what I saw. Is like the mineral rights deal is worth about like $500 billion. Is just a number that I saw and was thrown out. Can't say it's factual, but with that being said, people are like, why would he want to do that deal? I was like, well, we gave him $250 billion.
Yeah, it's more, but that's what we can account for.
Yeah, we can account for $250 billion. So we've got to get this money back somehow. Plus interest. That's how it works everywhere. You got to pay interest too. So
speaking of stuff like that too, I want to jump into some tariff talks because China has recently said that they're ready to go to war with us at any level, tariffs war or military war, anything. They're ready. Is what they've stated. So before we get into that, I want to share this interesting video that I came across and get your guys' thoughts on it. So let's check this out. This is my man Ronald Reagan, and this is on like a historical website.
First,
so
when
it's
someone
real.
says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity.
So tariffs, good idea or bad idea?
Good idea for some time.
Yeah, like I said, I think that Trump is trying to get these people to the table.
Yeah. But if they're willing to go back and forth with us and impose tariffs in both directions.
That's them posturing. Just like what Zelensky did.
Yeah.
He showed up, tried to puff his chest. He showed his cards. Well, he didn't have very good cards.
You think China's going to be the same end result?
They can't afford it. Like, all of their citizens are trying to flee the way it is. Like, they can't feed all their citizens. They can't afford it. United States, buys like 25% of the stuff that they sell or something like that. Something crazy, right?
Yeah,
so,
put Amazon out of business, that's for sure.
So, and it's the same thing with Mexico. Like, Trump just posted that he was on the phone call with the president of Mexico today and said, we're not going to implement any tariffs until April 1st. He's legit. He wants these people to come to the table, and his number one concern right now is shutting down the fentanyl.
Do you think that's really true?
Why wouldn't it be?
What's really true? What do you mean?
Like trying to shut down the fentanyl
Why
production?
wouldn't it be?
It just doesn't seem.
What do you
one
think
killer.
else it could be?
Hold on. It's the number one killer for ages people 18 to 34 right now. That's the number one killer is fentanyl overdose.
I agree. I think fentanyl is terrible, obviously, but like, what does that benefit him? Like, I just
because
don't.
it's
we're the dumping ground for that shit.
It's
coming
not,
from Mexico.
Not psychological warfare, chemical warfare.
Yeah.
It's chemical. China is the number one reason why we're dealing with this right now.
Yeah.
So, and then Mexico and Canada are allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why not? We're going to tax the shit out of them until China stops trying to poison all of our citizens, until Mexico and Canada continue to allow that shit.
And in the speech, didn't I hear he said he's going to do reciprocating tariffs on people or on countries?
Yeah, so whatever they tariff us, we're going to tariff them.
Yeah.
Why is that so?
Every other nation does that to us.
Yeah.
Why is that so out of pocket?
I don't get
Why
it.
do we have to buy all of Germany's cars, but they don't buy our shit?
Yeah.
How is that fair?
So what are your thoughts then on what Ronald Reagan just said? Do you think that that's just because in those times it was different than it is now, or what?
Well, I think back then, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't interest rates like super high back then anyways? Like interest rates were like...
What was this, 1963 or something like that?
No, he was president like in the 80s.
Oh, 83?
Yeah, he was president in the 80s. But I'm pretty sure like interest rates were really high and inflation was high back then too. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I remember hearing that interest rates were like 8% or 9% or something like that back then. I don't know.
They've always technically really been high. We had an extreme low in the past couple of years.
Well, because of COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're starting to drop now.
Yeah, we're averaging.
They're already starting to drop. So, I don't know. But I have to believe that there's even said it himself. He's like, we're going to feel a little bit of pain right at the beginning here, but I need you to stay with me. And I think that
I'm glad he said that, by the way. I was going to bring that up because that's one of the biggest things that everyone's been saying is like, oh, look, he's destroying everything. Everything's falling apart and we can't get this, we can't get that. And I'm just like, yeah, there's going to be collateral damage for when you have to fix the damage that has been done, without a doubt. The fact that he vocally said that now in front of everyone who was watching, I think that's super important that he let it be known. Like, yes, things will be hard for a little while. There'll be a little bit of an uphill battle, but it's a necessary evil.
all these countries that have been ripping us off, and he's legit. Like we pay all this money to all these countries. They don't buy any of our shit. They tax us. We don't tax.
And most of them are supposed to, and they don't. And they've gotten away with it for decades.
They've just been getting away with it for all along. Why is that fair? Why is anybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Right.
That's not okay.
Because Orange Man bad.
And like I said, I'm tired of the USA being the whipping boy of the world.
Right.
Yeah. It is weird. It's weird for sure because you're talking, they tariff us, and then we also subsidize them and help them in any way that they
all
need.
the time.
It's crazy.
Whether it be military or financial.
Yeah.
We're the ones spending our tax dollars on all these other countries that don't give a shit about us.
And that's why we get taxed 6 different ways.
So that's why, like, when Trump implements all these tariffs, you guys saw it. Honda's building one of their car plants in Ohio.
We've gotten, like, what did they say? 1.2 trillion or more from investments into America just from the tariff threats alone.
And
that's huge,
that's
bro.
So nuts.
Not only that, but Mexico, they were going to build who was it? There was one of the car industries that was going to build a massive plant down in Mexico, and it was basically going to shut the car industry down in Michigan completely. Like they were going to be out thousands of jobs and done.
Yeah, they
stopped.
They stopped while they were waiting to see if he won the election, and then they're going to make a decision.
They're like,
to continue.
oh shit, well we can't do that anymore. Yep. So now they're going to bring all of that car industry back into the United States. Good. Not only that. That chip industry is starting to come back in the United States.
That's going to be.
They're going to build chip processors in Arizona. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of these these industries start building in the States, which is going to create more jobs. The Boneyard, Alaska guy, he's posting all the time about his pipeline in Alaska. It's supposed to be like a $300 billion project, but he said that we've got more oil in Alaska than all these other countries combined. Like, I might be exaggerating, but it's a shit ton of oil there.
Yeah.
So they're building a pipeline from Alaska all the way down. And so that's going to be booming. We will be energy independent. We won't have to rely on any of these countries. We'll have to buy shit from them. Agreed. They're going to have to buy from us because we're going to have all the oil here. So right now, we just got to bite the bullet. You're going to take a little pain at the pump, at the grocery store. But I guarantee you, eventually, those prices are going to come down and you are going to start buying American.
I mean, the fact that people would even think for a second that you can just flip a switch and everything would be better after
eggs will drop
after
$8.
4 years of damage being done. It's crazy, and it shows their lack of understanding about anything in the politics game anyway.
It's the same thing. Like Trump could cure cancer. They're going to find a reason why cancer is good for America, right? Yeah. So it's the same thing. Trump is trying to make everything pro-America. He's the most pro-America that we've had in a long time. So he's trying to bring all these industries back to America. But just because it's Trump, they're going to find a reason to hate.
It's that old saying where they say Trump could walk on water, and they'd say it's because he can't swim.
Yeah.
Instead of because he's so glorious and able.
It's just they're going to find something to complain about.
Yeah.
But whatever, you guys can complain while you're getting wealthy off of it too.
Yeah,
it's true. And I think that's truly what they're most mad about is the fact that they're losing their wealth to Trump coming in and making all these policies. He's taking away from their side hustles.
Yeah,
big time,
definitely.
And in the hundreds of millions of dollars, which is why they're so fucking livid.
Well, you got to think all those industries that were paying like 10 cents on the dollar for cheap labor, going to China, going to Mexico, whatever. But now they have to pay American salaries.
Yeah.
You got to pay up, son.
Yeah.
You're not going to be.
I know firsthand, bro. In 2004 alone, I was about the time that outsourcing was booming for America, and big corporations were, talking about doing this. That's how I ended up traveling the world. I went to Mauritius, Africa, because we outsourced our call centers for all the major airlines out there to what they called the cyber island. And bro, we were paying them, and it was one of the better paying jobs on the island. We were paying them $250 a month.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, the conversion rate was 30 rupees to $1 at the time.
That's absolutely wild.
It was insane.
And this is not new. Like, this has been going on for decades. Like, my dad,
I mean, this was 2004, but it just really kicked into gear about that era. But yeah, it was happening a little bit prior to that. That's where the whole joke of, calling customer service and you get Indian people comes from.
Yeah.
Because we were outsourcing to India first.
Right.
So
like, my dad worked for 3M. He was an electrician at 3M down in Wapton. They closed, left.
Yep.
Then Amation bought the building. They closed, left. And then finally we had a local people bought the building and started their company there. Luckily it was, local people, but all those two and he had to take a massive pay cut.
Yeah.
Like from that. But those two companies both went to different countries because they paid less.
Yeah, it sucks.
So that's what he's trying to do.
The chips are crazy. That's going to be such a big deal because, like, even when we were running low on chips in 2022, I want to say 21, like, everything went up in price. Cars, computers, phones, like, having them here in the United States and being made, that's going to lower prices in and by itself. So,
well, it's a national security thing too. It's like if China's going to be circling Taiwan, if they try to take Taiwan, it's not going to be as big of a deal.
Yeah,
because we'll have our own shit.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll let that happen either, though.
We just got to become more self-independent, self-sufficient, and we'll be back to being the greatest nation in the world, man. But the last decade or so has really destroyed this country from being any kind of power in anywhere. I mean, the last 4 years alone, we were watching other nations make fun of us, bro.
Yeah.
They were clowning us and saying we were becoming a third world country with the way our government was acting and behaving.
Did you guys see what Hegseth said in response to China?
No.
He said, we're ready.
It is kind of wild, though. That's why when you say, like, it feels something, I'm sure you didn't really mean it all the way, but like it does. I feel like World War III, if it came now, I'd be like, all right, we're good.
We're in the right hands.
Yeah.
I will say that much about Trump and the people he's put into play, bro. We have the right people in the front lines if we do end up going to some kind of war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because last December, we wouldn't have been in this position, bro. If we would have went to war anytime in the last 4 years prior to Trump being in, we would be done for.
Yeah.
We would be goners.
Yeah. I feel like it would be being fed to the wolves. Like,
Yeah.
I think
now it would be trouble for anybody that tries us, bro.
Yep.
I believe that strongly.
I do too.
And I think most, other powerful nations understand that about America.
You guys saw
They were
that
just getting away with it for a while.
The Army branch had record numbers recruitment in January.
Huge. Yep.
I saw them in the actual conference that they did. Yeah. And the one guy was smiling. He was like he did it all. I was like, there was like the third guy in. He was the only one smiling out of everybody. And he was like,
I was watching him. I was watching him too because I think they have to remain like
bipartisan.
Bipartisan. So they're just sat there like this. But you could tell they just wanted.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah, man. Lots of stuff going on. Things are getting crazy. I'm getting redeemed in my thoughts on Israel because I think you guys are falling in line and seeing the truth come out. Something's up. They're in a weird position of power and control and say so, not just in America, in a lot of places, it seems, man.
It would just be nice if they were transparent. Like
me too. That's all I want.
This is why we're getting so much money.
I want to know why all of our head government officials right now, especially all the ones that Trump has appointed, are so vocal about their allegiance to Zionism. Yeah. I just want to know why, bro. I haven't even said it's a bad thing because I don't know what it is that we do that for that makes it a bad thing. But I need to be able to discern and make that decision. So if they could explain to us why we have such an allegiance to them, I could fall in line or go completely the opposite direction at that point and understand why I'm doing it. But as it stands, I just need to know why do we do that? Why should we do that? Why is it necessary? Because maybe there's a good reason and maybe I might like it. But the reasons, the excuses that people have thrown out there, the hypotheticals and their assumptions, they don't match. They don't fit.
Not only that,
the biblical stuff doesn't work. None of that.
Christians across the world are persecuted.
Yes.
From Jews, from whoever, like Christians across the world. And the media is silent about that.
Well, the what is it called? The Talmud. I mean, that has a lot of really bad stuff in it, bro. Like word for word, it's in the scripture. And I think, was it the Ian Carroll, Joe Rogan episode where they talked about it, or am I thinking of something else?
I don't think so.
But they talk about how it is of their belief and it's written in their Bible, and they pulled it up. I'll have to find the clip that I'm talking about. But they pulled it up and they showed it, and it literally says that if the Jews were to a 2-year-old child it would be the child's fault. And that child would be sentenced, not the person who committed the crime against the child.
Hold on a second. Now, is there branches of Judaism? Because my understanding was
well, it's in the Talmud, so whoever reads that Bible.
Talmud is a different book.
Yeah.
Who is that book for?
Torah is, that's what I'm saying. Because I know what, I've heard of Torah too. So the definition for Torah is in Judaism, the law of God is revealed to Moses and recorded in the first 5 books of the Hebrew scriptures. So is the Talmud, is that like a branch from Judaism?
I'm not really sure, actually. I'd have to look into that more.
I've never heard of that before.
I've heard of the Torah and I've heard of the Talmud, but okay, so the Talmud is the central text of Rabbinic Judaism. So I think it's just maybe a branch of, you know what I'm saying? Like there's Christian Catholics, there's Christian Protestants.
It doesn't seem right, but maybe. I wonder how big that would be, how big that group is.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But I know that Torah is different than Talmud.
I've never heard of the Talmud, and I've heard of the Torah, so that's pretty weird. Interesting, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick before we end this. Because the
Torah is the compilation of the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, namely the books of the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. The Torah is also known as the Pentateuch, or the 5 books of Moses in rabbinical Jewish tradition, is also known as the written Torah.
Did you guys see when they went over the Social Security and people collecting Social Security that aren't alive or say that they're alive, and there was one that was 300 years old? That's crazy.
So I heard there was a rebuttal to that. It was how they used the system. It doesn't actually mean that there was somebody 300 years old that was receiving payments. It was how they used the system. I don't know how they explained it, but my question is, I would assume that Trump and his team would have vetted everything that he would state at the student.
Well, even if they're 150 and we're giving them money, I don't care. I don't care who's getting the money.
They're dead. They should be getting money.
Or if that money is going into a different bank account that's not theirs? That's a problem for me, because that is literally, we pay every single month to that. And it is for a good cause. I believe people should have that right. But
one of their signs was we got to cut Medicaid, or don't cut Medicaid, or something like that. They're not cutting Medicaid. Yeah, they're not cutting it. There's just fraud in Medicaid.
Yeah,
right. I think that's something that the left is just throwing out there to make them look like, they're destroying everything.
They're saying they want to get rid of Social Security as well, which is insane.
They're grabbing at straws.
When I see people like that, I'm like, I'd love to see you fight sometime. Like, they're just like so scrawny and like don't look like they do anything that would remotely think that they could fight in a decent manner.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll have to send it to you if I find it another time.
Yeah,
but
for
it
sure.
was crazy. Like, it tripped me out. And they pulled it up and showed the actual scripture, but it was bad.
No, I've heard of that before. But like I said, I think there's different branches of that Judaism.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the Talmud comes into play, but we'll have to look into that.
I was gonna say we'll tell you next week.
Yeah, we'll bring it up next week, and hopefully I'll find the video and show you guys. But
We gotta find a Jew.
We have a guest coming on next week. Is he Jewish?
No, he's not.
Is he coming on?
Yeah, he'll be here.
We got a guest next week.
He's
guys.
related to you, though.
Yes.
He's not Jewish?
Why would he be Jewish?
Your mom's not Jewish,
I'm
is she?
1% Jewish. Huh?
Is your
that
mom?
could be from my dad's side.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is your mom? You don't know who's Jewish then? Your mom or your dad?
I was the only one that got tested.
I didn't even know Cody had a dad. So.
Honestly, it does. I haven't known
he's
you.
met my dad.
I haven't
That's
known
so
you
crazy.
long.
When did I meet your dad?
He was at the Gopher when I competed at bodybuilding.
I can't remember that. I don't know why. That's crazy.
I remember.
It does kind of.
I
Feel like
always
you were
thought that
just
your
born
dad
from
wasn't
mom,
in your
though.
life, bro.
I don't have a dad.
Yeah, I thought that's why we were so close.
No,
you know?
he just. I mean, he's not on Facebook or anything. So
You don't post pictures of him though either. So
because
that's
he lives in Wapton. It's not like we're hanging out all the time.
yeah. That's all
Fair
right.
enough.
I don't post pictures of my dad either, so I guess that's fair.
All right, well,
Is he around?
cool.
Yeah. What do you mean? That's good. Good ending.
Good ending. All right, guys, we appreciate you checking us out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the channel. Tell your friends about us. Don't tell your friends about us. Talk good, talk bad. It does not really matter as long as you are talking about us. Peace.